Karyl and Millan, and we will talk about bullying. A real joke. Bullying is a real joke. The realest joke that I have encountered. How come there's a joke but a real thing that ever exists? As I wonder, bullying is a real joke in two ways. One, a joke that we take unconsciously but is a real problem. Other people won't even care about this issue, but not knowing they're also affected by it. It is a real joke to our society that reflects of how insensitive actors we are, how we tend to be ignorant of our own actions towards other people. Bullying is a real joke that requires immediate action and solution. 2. A real problem that we can take also as a joke. Despite its negative impact, we can still beat bullying and stop bullying in taking it as a joke in a way that you won't allow it to get into you or affect you. In a way that you yourself has a choice to be manifested or not, a choice of not giving them a choice to damage you, a choice to never allow them to wreck you, and a choice to stand up and speak up for yourself. Let me share you a part of me. I was once a victim of verbal bullying. Those powerful yet hurtful words that define who I am today. Those words that I accepted but I didn't claim, for I know myself better. According to National Center for Education Statistics, 83% of young people said bullying has a negative impact on their self-esteem. Surely it is, since bullying involves not just physical but also has the power to mentally drain someone through bad-mouthing or usage of offensive words. Definitely, those humiliating words can degrade one personality, which leads to low self-esteem. Just like you, I have been there and done that. I have been judged and accused of those shameful words that was never me. In short, just a rumor that is spread that me myself wasn't given any chance to defend the truth. But later on, I realized it doesn't really matter if I have explained the truth or clarified that rumor, for nothing will change. People will believe what they want to believe. People's minds are uncontrollable. We can't force them to believe onto something they wouldn't believe. It's not like we're forcing them to believe the truth for sympathy, because that's how most of uneducated people now think. They think that we want them to understand us, which is very essential and true. We seek people understanding about us, but along the way, what we get is judgment. Because they say, it is easy to judge than to understand, because understanding requires deep analysis. Do you know why? It is because we live with a people that not all are open-minded. Some are still close-minded people, believing the things they believe is true. And we can't do something about it. It's part of the philosophy of truth. Sadly, we can change the people around us, their judgment about us, and the way they're supposed to see us. But it really doesn't matter. After that unexplained rumor, people look at me as if I did something horrible to this highly standardized society, when in fact, they're the one who's doing the most terrible thing, judging without knowing the full context. Truly being judged without knowing the full context hurts. Not being able to defend yourself and correspondingly being ignored by the truth that who you really are. Unquestionably, who wouldn't feel unworthy? I am guilty. Who wouldn't feel empty? I am guilty. And who wouldn't feel like losing? Still, I am guilty. Bullying is the prime factor of all these undeniable feelings. But take it from me, I was wrong. I was wrong for feeling those things. It took time, I reflected, I healed, and I realized that we can't force people to see our worth, but what matters most is we know our worth. I am thinking, so how do we avoid or prevent this? How do we stop bullying? And so I came up with two choices. It is either to externally terminate it by feeding people to do what is morally right and just, or to internally stop it, which means the bullied or the victim itself will adjust if he or she will be affected by it. But is there really a choice? Should there really be a choice? Is it much better if we can do both? To be externally sensitive to bully someone and internally sensitive to be affected by those who bullies. And as a solution to externally terminate bullying, I have thought of engaging ourselves into advertisements or movie commercials that will talk about our differences as human beings, that will develop our deep understanding of one another, as well as different social media campaigns that will help us to nurture our critical thinking as well-beings. So how do those advertisements and social media campaigns will eventually help in externally terminating bullying? In today's time or in our generation, admit it or not, we all love movies. And we all love scrolling through social media. That's why this type of move will not necessarily but somehow can stop bullying. This type of movements aims to raise awareness for us to realize that there's really no valid reason to bully someone. As we raise red flags through these movie commercials or social media campaigns, we will all be aware of how damaging is bullying, of how it holistically destructs someone, and of how it ruins someone's personality. In fact, 75% of teenagers are reportedly engaging into negative activities like self-harm, drinking, smoking, and eating disorder. So when are we going to stop? Until everyone feels worthless and empty that will lead them all to cut off their lives? Or until our own differences adjust? But you know what? It will never happen, for we are all different. The way we look, the way we think, and the way we act. The way we look, which is our physical appearances, that will never define our personality, whether we are bad or good person. The way we think, which is only based on our own beliefs and our own point of views. Sometimes we are being misjudged just because we think on our own ways and on our own beliefs. Lastly, the way we act, which we are wrongly adapting from our environment just to be accepted by this hypocritical society. We are trying hard people who wants to fit in the society, where not being you is okay as long as you follow what people think is normal. But being normal doesn't mean always being right. Our society expects us to behave as if we are not. The moment you have become different, it seems like you have sinned and give people the right to bully you. And as a way to internally beat bullying, it solely rests upon the victim or the bullied one. Bullying will not exist if there's no bully and the bullied one. And if one of these two roles in bullying will not exist, and so bullying will not also take place. If there's no bullied one, there will be no bully, and vice versa. It also depends on you if you will let those damaging and destructive actions of those bullies to get into you or to undertake you. We should always think that we are way more powerful than them. I want to share a few words that I have read as I'm scrolling through my social media. And he quoted, "I like knowing that I don't need acceptance from anyone but myself." Those words pick up as a way to help us realize that we really don't need validation from other people. Come to think of it and come to your senses, people. People around us won't define ourselves. We own ourselves and we must accept who we are. Accept that we are not perfect, but we are all enough and worth it. Our insecurities, our egos, and their judgments about us won't make us less human, but instead makes us to be something more. So instead of being affected by the nature of bullying, why not beat it within ourselves? Give them no reason to say anything about you and physically beat you. And yes, you can accept anything that they will say to you, but never ever claim it. Never ever be affected by it. You must know yourself better than anyone else. Learn to accept yourself, for acceptance obtains respect, the respect that we all need to beat this poor nature of bullying. Thank you.